Oh my gosh.
Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing the christening in the sacred water, Mountain Dew, and we're going to praise our God, Tyler Blevins, Ninja, and we're just going to see how this goes. Eric, if you would come, we're going to introduce him to the Church of Dew. My child, I'm gonna clean you with water Thank you, Father.
That is disgusting.
When he comes out, reborn.
This actually isn't too bad. Where is he going? Yeah. You're just gonna use the ground. Oh, get away from me.
Dude.
Sweet.
Lord Father Ninja Tyler Blevins, thank you for rebirthing this man. Beautiful. Beautiful. Church of Christ, Ninja.
We're probably gonna go back to the studio now and then
Tyler and
take
Ninja
the
Blevins.
stuff back to scene storage.
Sports time!
Welcome back. This is episode 2 of The Couch. I'm your host, Nick Rodabaugh, here with my guest,
Sam Taylor.
Today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about Wazoo women's soccer, Wazoo volleyball, football, and a little preview of men's and women's basketball. So let's get right into it.
Sweet. Happy to be here. Thanks for having
Yep,
me,
for
Nick.
sure, Sam. All right, we're going to hop into Wazoo women's soccer. This last weekend, they lost to Stanford 2-1 on the road in Palo Alto. Tough loss on the road is 1-1.5. Scored a goal late in the first half, about 40 minutes remaining. But weren't able to generate offense in the second half and ended up losing to the Cardinal 2-1. Sam, what do you got to say about this loss?
Well, spirits were high headed into Northern California as, head coach Todd Schulenberger had just gotten his 89th win, which is like the most of any Cougar soccer coach ever.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't get it done in Northern Cal. They lost to Cal 2-1. They also lost to Stanford 2-1, as you noted. They lost their ranking. They were ranked top number 21 going in, and they lost that after Cal and just couldn't do it against number 14 Stanford. But it was weird because against Cal they got 22 shots or something off, but they couldn't convert. And against Stanford they only got 6 shots, but got the same number of goals.
Yeah, when I've been looking at the stats, they get a lot of shots on goal for sure. But a lot of shots on goal, not a lot of scoring. So kind of got to see where that offense can generate from. But so tonight we're filming this on October 14th. The Cougs will take on the Ducks tonight. I think it is at home.
Yep.
If I'm correct. So it is home, right here in Pullman. Take on the Ducks tonight at 7 p.m. Do you think the Cougs are going to be able to make a bounce-back win against the Ducks? Or
I think so. The sky is falling because they lost their first 2 conference games.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they've only lost 3 games this year. One to a very tough Michigan team, one to a very tough Stanford team, and a Cal team that deserves a lot of respect. The Ducks are like, I believe, 4-5 or something like that. They've lost more than they've won, and it could be a trap game, but I think as long as Patricio and Lily Boyden and Sing Studer and all like the key contributors on that soccer squad, as long as they play to their best, they'll be fine. Nadia Cooper had like a season high in saves, so she's firing on all cylinders.
Perfect.
And
that's just what the Cougs need.
I'm looking forward to a Cooper win.
Perfect.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So we're gonna call it here first. Cougs beat the Ducks tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Score prediction.
I'll say like 3-2. I think the Ducks will be a little bit more challenging than they might think, but they'll get the win 3-2.
Awesome. All right, so now we're going to transition to WSU volleyball. Wazoo's coming off a sweep against the Oregon schools with a big win at home and a 3-2 win over the Ducks, and then they ended up sweeping the Beavers 3-0. So, Sam, how are we feeling about the team after a big weekend sweeping the Oregon schools?
Yeah, so this weekend was just what the Cougs needed. They were undefeated against unranked teams, still are, and then winless against ranked teams, but that has changed just when they beat Oregon. That Oregon win was huge. Obviously, everyone was looking forward to seeing Hannah Pukas again, but she didn't make the trip for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's unspecified at this point. But so Pukas wasn't there, but the Cougs didn't show up. The Cougs did show up. They did awesome. They had like an ugly set 3. That third set was horrendous. Like their defense seemed like they were on their heels the whole time, and they just couldn't answer. Then they just like flipped a switch seemingly in set 4 and 5. They started making the kills they needed to, making the plays. They eliminated like the service errors. They had a lot of like service been a challenge for them all year, but they kind of turned that on in sets 4 and 5, and they got the win. And like Bowler is electric. If you haven't been to a volleyball game this year, I hope that you all attend, because it's just amazing. Like sometimes that stadium gets louder than not actually, but sometimes it seems like it's louder than Lumen Field because it's just so electric. And the fact that they made that venue just for volleyball, it really shows when the Cougs pack it in the game. That's awesome.
So Cougs coming off a sweep of the Oregon schools, facing the newer schools in the Pac-12. They face Colorado and the Utes this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Coming off a sweep, feeling really good. Probably had a good week of practice. How are we feeling our predictions for this game coming up, these matches coming up against Colorado and Utah?
Yeah, well, I don't think either team's ranked. I could be wrong, but I don't think either team's ranked.
No, I don't think they are either.
And so if they stick to their guns and beat unranked teams like they have been all year, then they should come out this weekend too. But they need to they can't just take it for granted. They got to do the things that they've been doing right all year, and
awesome.
Bring that to this
all right.
weekend.
So against Colorado, what do we think the prediction is?
I think they'll let us set slip 4-1.
3-1?
Or 3-1, sorry. 3-1.
No, yeah. So 3-1, we're calling Cougs over Colorado. What about Utah?
I think they get the sweep. They turn it on 3-0.
3-0, so another go 2-0 this weekend again. So sweep the miscellaneous Pac-12 schools. All right, we're going to transition now. We're going to transition to football. Coming off of a pretty tough loss on the road at number 6 USC. Gotta say, I'm not really surprised about the loss, 30-14. Yeah. USC is one of the best offenses in the country. Like Caleb Williams is a Heisman contender, Jordan Addison, Heisman contender. So really hard to kind of stop that offense, and it showed. I mean, our offense kind of scored a little bit, only 2 touchdowns. Cam Ward had an okay game, not a high passing yards game. I think he threw for like $170 and 2 touchdowns, I think, or something like that. The story on offense for the Cougs is definitely Jalen Jenkins. Had a breakout game after Nakia Watson went out. Watson's going to be out for the year. But Jalen Jenkins, I'm not sure his exact stat line, but I think he had almost like 130 yards rushing. No touchdowns, so he didn't score, and he had a couple of receptions, but it did earn him Pac-12 did recognize him this week. Yeah. I think as a freshman of the week. What do you have to think about the USC game? Any surprises or?
Jalen Jenkins was certainly a surprise. Just not surprised in that I didn't know that he could do that, but just the fact that he did that was so huge
against USC on the road too.
It was huge. And so, did he not have a receiving touchdown, or was that like?
I think he had a big gain, but I don't think he scored.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was awesome because it was just so great. I mean, like ultimately they lost, and I feel kind of bad about that. Yeah. But they made way too many mistakes.
They did.
Facing a top 10 team.
Yeah.
And it's not been the worst season at all. It's not been the best season since 2018.
They're sitting at 4-2 right now.
It's true.
Through. That's not
No, yeah, like I think we should certainly count our blessings, especially since we've only lost to 2 ranked teams. But the way we've lost is Oregon has been painful.
Exactly.
USC was just predictable. But this weekend against Oregon State will be a real test of because WSU is probably like top 5 in the Pac-12, but I don't think they're top 4. But they need to prove they're top 5, not top, and to possibly break into that top 4 by beating Oregon State. Oregon State's kind of at that cusp too. They're like a second tier of the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And if whoever wins this game this Saturday will be kind of the leader of that second pack with a chance at joining the contenders USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah.
I definitely think Oregon State going on the road to Corvallis, it's a pretty tough place to play. Yeah. Kind of like that small college town vibe, kind of like here in Pullman. And the Beavers they're a pretty good team. They're also sitting at 4-2, and they're coming off of a come-from-behind win against Stanford. They scored Trayshawn Harrison scored a go-ahead touchdown late, had mossed the dude, and then ended up running it in for a 60-yard touchdown or something like that. So I will say it will be a tough matchup for the Cougs. The Cougs haven't lost to Oregon State. I think it's 2013, I believe. So
yeah,
thanks, man. So it's been 9 years that the Cougs have not lost to the Beavers. So we'll kind of see if Wazoo can kind of keep that up. And I really think it will start with the defense this game. Need to see a little more production from Cam Ward, but he's kind of came into his own. He had a good game against Oregon, had a good game against SC. Not a lot of yards passing, but able to be a little more efficient on the throwing side and was able to, didn't have that many completions. I don't know his exact stat line, but 2 touchdowns. So we'll see. Turnovers will be key too, so he's got to kind of control the ball. But I think it really comes down to the defense.
Yeah, it was really cool to see that they didn't have any turnovers against USC.
Yeah.
Part of that's a testament to they didn't have a lot of offense anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Not a lot of opportunities for turnovers, but you saw him when Ward did throw the ball down, so he took care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Really made some good plays downfield.
Yeah.
All right, Sam. Score predictions. What are we thinking?
Yeah, so we saw Oregon State play USC really close.
Yeah,
17-14 final for USC. But in Corvallis, it's only a half stadium, obviously, because they're renovating half of the stadium, but it's still a loud, dangerous environment. I think Wazoo wins 24-21.
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of low scoring. I think it will be a 1-score game. I think it's going to be 27-21.
Gotcha.
They're going to both hit 21. It's going to come down to the field goal, our place kicker, and that's how we're going to win. 27-21 in Corvallis. So that's all for football. We're going to transition now to basketball. Not a lot to say, but basketball's back here on the Palouse. Both teams started official practices back up. The men last year made it to the semifinals of the NIT, and then the women made it to March Madness. However, they were a first-round exit against Kansas State. But both teams made it to postseason play, which is huge, because Wazoo's not really known as a basketball school, so that was really big for both programs last year. Sam, what do you think of basketball being back in? Yeah.
This is really electrifying, especially with the footage that we are seeing now. If you're a Wazoo basketball fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. That Mohamed Gay dunk,
insane
in practice over I forget who he was, but he was 6'9", the player that he dunked over, and so this man just hurdled almost 7 feet, over 7 feet, over the 6'9".
Granted, Mohamed Gay is about 7 foot himself, so that's a 7-foot dude jumping almost 7 feet in the air.
Yeah, to deliver the dunk. It's just, I'm so glad he came back. It's such a blessing. This team is 10 times better with Gay on it than it would have otherwise. So
you think both programs will make postseason play again?
I think so. If the Cougs don't make the tournament, they will at least make NIT. But I really hope that they make that transition and turn it around. I mean, how far they go in the tournament, that remains to be seen. But it's kind of like the Mariners. We just got to get in, and then we'll talk about how we actually get in the postseason.
March Madness itself is crazy. You see 16 beating 1s, 15 seeds beating 2s. It's
madness.
It is madness.
Thanks, man. I think whatever seed, if they are able to get in, I think we'll be able to make an upset or two and kind of make a run, maybe end up in the round of 32. And for the women were able to make it as an 8 seed, so a pretty good seeding.
Yeah.
Coming out, but I really think it will be. They'll probably get in as 8 or 9. Hopefully, they make it past the first round, and get into the round of 32. Maybe make a push to Sweet 16.
Yeah, this program that Cami Etheridge is building with women's basketball, they are built to win. Now, they haven't quite found their mojo once they actually get to the postseason yet, but once they get some more experience, which they have gotten, I think this year will be the season that they go past round one and further in. And I think it starts obviously with how they do in their own conference. We saw them play some really close games and kind of dominate their conference. But once they actually got to the tournament, they had a first round bye and they just looked lost against Utah. That was they were kind of on their heels the whole game. Utah, granted, should have been a higher seed, but played less regular season games and so they were a lower seed. But I think the Cougs, they've got a lot of for the women's basketball team, they only lost Crystal Ledger Walker, a huge contributor. That's going to be hard to replace. It's going to be hard to replace. But her sister Charlize is still here, and the bulk of the team, Bella Mercatete, Willa Mertuga, Johanna Tedder, they're going to do amazing. And it's just going to be a lot of fun to see how they do. And they had some good recruits. They brought in their national recruiting is off the charts, and so there's some new faces here on the Palouse, and we just can't wait to see them play. They're going to be great.
Exactly. All right, I think that's all we have for you today on the couch. Again, signing off, I'm Nick Rodabaugh.
I'm Sam Taylor.
We will see you next time.
Go Cougs.
Oh, keep walking up. Yeah. Oh, you're in your car.
Baptism.
Oh. You're not gonna then. Yeah, if you're in your car, you probably won't. We're almost done anyway.